Welcome back to the Changemaker podcast. I'm your host, Deke Copenhaver, and today my guest is literally a golfing legend, 10-time PGA Tour winner, 2-time major winner, the 1979 Masters and the 1984 U.S. Open, and just even more importantly, a philanthropist, a father, a husband, a grandfather, and just a great guy. So welcome to Fuzzy Zoeller.
Welcome to the Changemaker podcast, hosted by Deke Copenhaver. Deke is the author of The Changemaker, a Forbes publishing book that has reached #1 on Amazon on multiple occasions and in multiple categories like management skills and total quality management. During this podcast, Deke interviews exceptional change-making leaders. Deke currently operates Copenhaver Consulting, where he helps local governments and other public organizations maximize their potential. He's also a sought-after public speaker. We hope that the Changemaker has an impact on you today and that you find takeaways that make you a better leader in your life. Now, here's Deke.
Deke, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to see you. I wish I could see you in person and give you a handshake and give you a hug, but hopefully maybe next year the Masters will be back to normal and we can do that.
Oh, that's fine. We might even have a vodka tonic or a cool beer with you. That would be great. I'm all in, buddy. I'm all in.
I would love to do that. Well, Fuzzy, as I said before coming on, the podcast is not really about politics or anything. It's just about leadership. And you know, on the PGA Tour, you're a leader. You did something in 1979 that only had been done twice before, and that's win the Masters in your first start. The other two gentlemen to have done it are golf legends, Horton Smith and Gene Sayers. And talk about what that was like in your first time out at the Masters to win.
How about just getting there?
We'll talk about how
just getting there. Yeah, Deke, just getting there. I mean, I'm not sure there's a young person, whether young male, who's out there practicing. I mean, their dreams are to get to the Masters, to have an opportunity to win a U.S. Open or win the Open, the British Open, and or the PGA, because we're always kind of governed by what we do in the major tournaments. But my first time going down Magnolia Lane, remember, I've only seen pictures. I had never been there, and my mother and dad, they just goo and all the way down. I had a chill down my spine. I'm thinking, yeah, this is it. This is even prettier than what the pictures had shown me, looking through the past years. But did I ever think that I would have the opportunity to win? Now, I was playing well when I came there, but that doesn't make the ball jump in the hole. So need a little luck, which everybody does when you play golf. A little luck never hurt anybody. My buddy Ed Sneed had a disastrous final 3 holes, which let Tom Watson and myself back in the tournament. It's amazing thing, professional sports. If you screw up just a little bit, there's 2 or 3 guys ready to take your place and step into your shoes. And that's what happened. Ed opened the door, and then Tom Watson and I were able to get in and go into the playoff, which, matter of fact, was the very first sudden death playoff they ever did. My first time there, my first sudden death playoff as a professional. And it turned out I won on the 11th hole. But it's amazing. That green jacket is magical. It is an honor to be a member of the Masters Club, of the Champions Club down there. Not many people can say they've done that. And the other thing, I look at it and I go, damn, I can't believe somebody hasn't done this before or even after I've done that. You think of all the talent that has come in those front gates and have left, licking their wounds because Augusta just beat them up. It's hard to believe.
Well, one of the things that I've shared with people about leaders in general is they have strong work ethics. And you talk a little bit about, you had to have some luck to get to that playoff to win the Masters, but you also had to put the work in. So talk about what that was like to ready yourself. I mean, how much time did you spend practicing?
every day. Yeah. Every day. When people tell you if you want to be the best at what you do, you've got to do it every day. And as a young person, I was on the golf course every day. Even if there was snow on the ground, we'd take a tennis ball and 5 irons and go hit the ball around the golf course. We had fun. You know, we kind of invented some new games. Even though it was cold, with the kids in our neighborhood, we had a blast, an absolute blast. But all that practice and all the repetitions on the practice range, not only after I made it professionally, but it all paid off. You know, you're looking at a guy, as I tell everybody, you dream about making those putts. Well, you're looking at a guy who had that dream. Yeah. It came true, because I remember the days standing at Valley View Golf Club, not Covered Bridge or Champions Point that I own now. And I remember putting on that putting green for the Opens, the Masters, and all those great tournaments. My dream came true.
Well, in 1984, in the U.S. Open, you beat Greg Norman, who's another legend in the world of golf, in a playoff, I believe. And he's somebody living here in Augusta that I always felt, somewhat bad that he never was able to win the Masters. But here again, you were able to win a second major championship. So what was the feeling like that one? Was it the same as the first, or was it a little bit different? You had broken through in the 1979 Masters first.
Well, I mean, that was a little bit different. Excuse me. Even though, because we had to come back on Monday and play 18 holes. It was a shootout. That's what that was. And Greg was just a little off early in the round, up until about the 7th or 8th hole, and he finally figured out what it was. He had a couple errant shots, and it gave me a pretty good lead, substantial lead. And, I was never one to give back a lot, so I was playing well again. Again, the key to him is playing well when you go in there, because it builds all the confidence in the world in you. And I was putting well. So I had all the combinations of winning a golf tournament. But Greg was a great champion. It is a shame that he had never won Augusta. He got close.
Got very, very close.
I mean, he got close. A lot of times he got close. But it was always that one little errant shot that cost him. And you can't do that when you're trying to win the majors.
No. And Fuzzy, I pulled up a quote from you. And one of the things I've shared with people that, in leadership positions, you can experience, great wins and great losses all in the same day. But you said, life is not a bowl full of cherries. There's good and bad stuff. And you are a 2-time major champion. But I think some people think, well, Fuzzy Zoeller's got it made. He's been a professional golfer, all this, but life comes with difficulties for everybody. And I like to put the human side on people. It's not all a bowl of cherries.
Well, I for an example, I mean, a lot of people around southern Indiana do know that my wife has a very rapid stage of dementia. Now, you think about the cherries rotten in the bowl. Here we go. People ask me why I have retired from the game, which was 3 years ago. It's because that I was needed at the house to take care of my wife. We marry these young ladies at a young age. We have a lot of fun with them. We cater to them. They cater to us. And then, the call of duty came where I was needed at the house more so than on the golf course. So that's the reason why I retired from the game of golf, is to help her. When I went down the aisle and gave them the oath, this is just the bad part of it.
Yeah.
So I got to stay with her, stick with her. I mean, 45 years this August. That's a long time to be with a lady. Most of the guys on tour go a year or two and they switch. Yeah, I'm kind of like a freak of nature. I'm 45 years with the same one.
Well, your wife, Diane, is such a lovely lady, and God bless you. I know that that's not easy. My father struggled with Parkinson's for 8 years before succumbing to it, and so I know dementia, Parkinson's, and some of the other Alzheimer's are just they're a difficult thing on a family. So God bless you and God bless your family. And, but that's part of leadership too, is, as I say, you're exhibiting great leadership in your own home. And I've often told people, just, being a CEO or elected official or somebody that's a pro athlete does not really make you a leader. It's what you do. And you can be, I mean, parents are leaders. It's just, and spouses are, and you're exemplifying true servant leadership by honoring your oath and taking care of your wife. So that's a great example for your kids to follow as well.
Well, I appreciate that, Deke. Again, for better or for worse, those words stick out in the back of my mind, and this is just the worst part of it. We've had the better part. We had a hell of a run over our career together. But now the call is for me to help her, stay with her, do anything I can to try to improve her life. Yeah. Can I help her? No. I mean, there's nothing we can do except just try different medications to kind of calm her at times. That's basically what we do, and always there in case she makes a bad step or whatever. Yeah, we're just, I don't know how to quite say it, but, it's tough on the family. I can tell you that. My daughters, of course, Gretchen, Heidi. You haven't met Sonny. They have a hard time dealing with it. My son, Miles, I think he's starting to figure it all out. He's, that there's nothing that physically or medically that we can do right now. It's just one of those diseases that's got to run its course.
Yeah. It is not easy, and I know, but here again, you are setting such a great example for your kids, and I know it's not easy on the girls, but I think too, and I leaders set the tone, and I think of what you said about 45 years of marriage, and so I've been married 23, and hope to get to 45. My wife Lisa, she says to tell you hello.
I'll tell her thank you.
But that's in today's world, and as you say, on tour, being married for that long is unusual. And it's interesting. I have nieces that are now married happily and have families, but at one point when they were living in Atlanta, they had friends that said, that called their first marriage starter marriages. And I'm like, so if I was a father paying for my daughter's wedding, I wouldn't do it if she was calling it a starter marriage.
Yeah, I know. I quite understand what you're saying. When we walk down the aisle with our daughter on the arm, you're hoping that they're going to hang in there with the man that they have picked as their running mate, as we call it. Now, Gretchen, my youngest daughter, got to try this twice. She didn't succeed on the first one, but it was, just one of those things. But the second one, she's married to a nice young man who's playing professional golf right now out on the Corn Ferry Tour and doing quite nicely. So it's kind of fun to watch those two blossom.
Well, and I talk about in my book, The Changemaker, which I need to send you a copy, but leadership is based on trust. And I think every relationship is based on trust. And honoring your vows, that to me is so important. I used to tell people when I was in office, the third time I chose to run for mayor, it was a very difficult decision, because I said, that was not an easy situation on my wife, Melissa. People have asked if I'd run again. I'm like, talk to her, because she's the boss ultimately. But I said, because it's something I couldn't quit, because I'm like, when I take an oath, when I lay my hand on a Bible and say that I'm going to serve for 4 years, I'm not doing anything else, because I take that oath seriously, as you do the oath of marriage, and I think that's just so important. But that's to honor your vows, or what you say you're going to do, builds that trust, which in any relationship, a leadership, a marriage, a family relationship, once you sort of breach the trust, it's not easy to rebuild.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100% on that. And I'm pretty impressed with you. You've gone through the politics and doing the political thing like you have.
Well, I appreciate that.
I mean, not a lot of people will hang in there, but you did your duty, and you were damn good at it.
Well,
and I think your choice was perfect.
I appreciate that. And I tell people, I don't know if you do this, Fuzzy. My dad flew B-17 bombers in World War II. And he lost his father when he was 12 years old. So I think it was really that military service that taught him the values of duty, honor, integrity that he passed on to me. And he became a successful CEO, but he was not always around for my games when I was a kid. I was a junior golfer. We did play golf together. I played tennis and a number of other sports. But I tell people I'm so glad that I was raised by a member of the greatest generation, because I looked at my service as public service, but it's, and you and I have talked when we honored you at the Mayor's Masters reception. We had a lot of military people there, and you recognized them. But that my dad instilled upon me in me service above self.
Yes, and God bless the military. I'm telling you, and God bless the police who take care of us and protect us. Let's just dip a little bit into politics. I don't know what the hell's going on in Washington anymore. I'm not sure anybody does, I mean, you're going to defund the police. They defund the police, and now you got all these goofballs coming out of the woodwork now trying to be playing cowboys and Indians. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I agree. And politically, I've just come to the decision it's, if we're going to see real change, it has to start at the local level, because I agree with you about Washington. I don't know what in the world is going on there. And I've heard so many politicians on both sides, Washington is broke, I'm going to go fix it. Well, we see how that's working out at this point.
Well, they ought to be broke the way they spend it.
Yeah, well, but that's my focus is mentoring that next generation of leaders and really focusing on what I can do at the local level, whether it's here in Augusta or other cities. I work with other local governments, but I think that's, all politics are local, and that's where you can best really implement positive change.
Got it.
And one thing I did want to talk to you about, Fuzzy, is you are also a philanthropist, and I know that kids have your heart as far as your charity to focus on children.
Well, I mean, where's the next generation coming from? The kids. If we can step them with the right foot forward and get them off to a good start, a positive start, then it should carry on out to their younger years and up into being a grown-up. I would hope so anyway.
Absolutely.
So, you start right there at the kids.
Yeah. And another thing I've shared with people is my father always taught me the value of sportsmanship. And in 1985, you were the winner of the Bob Jones Award, the highest honor given by the USGA in recognition of distinguished sportsmanship in golf. So you won 2 majors, but how much did that award, named for Bob Jones, mean to you?
Well, you know what? At the time, I don't think it really, I really understood the Bob Jones Award.
Really?
But honest to God, I mean, yes, I appreciate. Of course, at the time, I really wasn't into awards. I really personally didn't think I deserved anything. I was just out being myself, taking care of people, enjoying people, making sure that I put a smile on somebody's face, and maybe the next day they would have maybe 2 more people standing there. So we were kind of building relationships all the way around. But that Bobby Jones Award, I mean, for all my peers, the older guys that I grew up with, that I truly adored, to the people in the press that thought enough of me to give me that award, I'm deeply honored. I look at it all the time when I go into Covered Bridge, because I have it sitting in the trophy case. And it means a lot. It means a lot to a player. And the older I get, the more I really appreciate awards like that.
Well, and that's something that I think people sometimes the press can make caricatures of people that are in the media spotlight. And one of the things in coming to know you, and I think this is another trait of good leadership, when you talk about awards don't matter to you, and now in retrospect, you get the gravity of it, but there's, I don't know that most people would think of Fuzzy Zoeller and, wisecracker, just a funny guy, a champion, but you've got a very humble side to you. And I so much appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, I'm not here with a bucket full of ego. I really had no ego. I kind of put everything on a very flat pedestal and tried to walk that. And tried to stay on that without getting too high or too low. Just try to keep it in an even keel.
Well, that's one of the things I share with people is that during my time in office or running my business or whatever I do, I'm like, in true leadership to me is you don't put yourself on that pedestal, and you're not above the people you serve. And I think that's where a lot of people in leadership positions, whether it's CEOs or politicians, when they insulate themselves and they surround themselves with yes men that are just telling them how great they are, that to me is a really dangerous position to be in. And you're obviously a very grounded gentleman.
Again, thank you for that. But that's where I've tried to be. That's the way I was taught. And hopefully I didn't waver too far from that beam, as I say. I always try to remember who's out there and who's paying my bill. And that were the people coming through that turnstile out there, paying their $15 to $20, maybe $25 to come in and see and get entertained by some professional golfers. And I never forgot that.
And I witnessed that firsthand here when we honored you as at the Mayor's Masters reception. So that morning we had the Adaptive Golf Challenge for people with disabilities. And you came out and you were supposed to spend about 15 minutes. You stayed for 2 hours, which to me, that did my heart so good. And it made me feel like I needed to be there for 2 hours too. But that just showed me the type of man you are.
Well, also, I mean, who was it? I think it was Jimmy Thorpe out
Jimmy
there.
Dent.
Yeah, Jim Dent. I know Jim was there because I saw him on the practice tee helping people. But again, they're great people. I mean, Jim was a great person, great friend of mine, still is. Jim, I don't know, I can't say enough. He stood there. I know he stood there almost all day long. And that's a hard thing to do, is stand on the practice range and show people who really have some disabilities how to make contact with the golf ball. Yeah,
and he is a great guy. And another guy who's, he's from Augusta. He's a humble spirit, but just a trailblazer in the world of golf.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have to ask you this, Fuzzy, because you mentioned that we might have to have a vodka tonic when you come back.
Here, bring one over here for me.
Or a Bloody Mary. This is a podcast. It's not radio, so I can do those things. You can come in studio and we can have one while we talk. But I've wondered, Fuzzy's Vodka, how does a PGA Tour player get into having a vodka brand?
Well, it started, it was 18 years ago. 18 years ago, I had some wine people walk into my office and gave me a pretty generous offer if I would just put my name on a bottle of wine. Now, I've always been one that I got to believe in my product that I put my name onto. I don't know, there's a little bit of pride there, but, it was pretty generous, I must tell you, because it came back up about 6 months later, and that's how the vodka thing came about. This wine thing came up. We were talking about it here in the office. It's kind of like throwing stuff on the wall, Deke, and this wine thing popped up. So we were talking about it, and a buddy of mine overheard the conversation, walked down the hall, and he stuck his head in the door. He said, "Now, why wouldn't you do a vodka? God knows you drink enough of it. And I went, you know what? This got some merit to it. We need to talk about this. Yes. Nobody, no sports figure had ever gone after the spirits business, but they were all in the wine business. And one of the reasons why I didn't want to do a wine is because I did ask the question. I said, what's going to make my wine taste better, say, than Freddie Couples' wine, Jack Nicklaus's wine, Greg Norman's wine? I mean, all those guys had a wine. They couldn't give me an answer. And I said, well, I can't do the wine. So the vodka thing came up. So we called around the country. There were 6 distillers in the country that would do a specialty private label premium vodka. So I asked them to send product of what they had. We've since kind of gone a little further, a little deeper into it, but there were 5 out of the 6 were just terrible tasting vodka. I mean, it was terrible. I was sitting on a Saturday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, but I tasted this one out of the Northwest up there. And I said, dang, this is pretty good stuff. And I mean, 9 o'clock in the morning, I don't want people to think that I have a drinking problem, but I do occasionally have one. I had to take the bottle that I tasted, ran it over to the club, covered bridge over here, and I had 6 ladies working. Now, ladies' taste buds are entirely different than men's. And I just wanted to make sure that they were tasting the same thing that I was tasting, just a nice, smooth tasting vodka. And out of the 6, 5 out of the 6 all picked the one that I thought. And we had a taste. I had about 7 different vodkas out doing a little taste testing. And they were, I don't know. It's crazy. But the fuzzy vodka is doing well. And now we've moved everything from the Northwest, from Bend, Oregon, back to Bloomington, Indiana. So now we're a Hoosier vodka made by Hoosier corn. We're all gluten-free. So it's kind of fun, but it's taken a long time. Are we where we should be? If we get rid of this COVID stuff, because every time we get on a run, COVID hits and everybody closes down. It's crazy. But we're in here for the long haul, so we're going to keep firing at it.
I love that, though, and I talk about, part of good leadership is you can't be afraid to take a leap of faith. So 18 years ago, and you're an entrepreneur. And so I don't want to date you, but how old would you be when you took that leap of faith and started Fuzzy's Vodka and did something extremely innovative? And I love the fact that you're like, well, everybody else is doing wine. I'm not doing wine. I'm going to do vodka.
Well, think about it, everybody. Freddie Couples, he doesn't even drink, and he's got a wine out there. Now, come on. Tell me that's not a real deal. At least I drink vodka. I'll tell you. So, yeah, it's fun. It's been a fun experience. It's been a difficult experience because, we're going out there and we're beating on heads of the top in the line. Mm-hmm. And we're just a one bottle company. So it's very difficult to crack that little edge.
But you still have that competitive nature.
I still love it. Oh yeah, we still keep firing at it. We don't want to be the largest pig in the herd, but there's a lot of crumbs down there for those little piglets that are trying to make their way up. You know what I'm saying?
I do, and the crumbs can make for a lot of good stuff for sure.
Oh, definitely. There's enough for everybody if you do it right.
Well, Fuzzy, we're going to be wrapping up here in a minute, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. But I've got a question for you. Out of all of your accomplishments in life, what would you say that you're the most proud of? And it doesn't have to be coming from the world of golf or anything. I just would love to hear what's the thing that you are most proud of.
Well, I got to tell you something, meeting my wife, Diane, and a tremendous job that she has done over the last 45 years, not only raising 4 kids, but also traveling the PGA Tour. I'm going to have to give her 5 stars because it takes a hell of a woman to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I will tell you, much love to the family. I look forward to seeing you in person, but here again, thank you for all that you do to give back. And thank you for just being the good gentleman and good role model you are. It's a pleasure talking with you.
Well, Deke, it's my pleasure. Don't forget to give your wife a kiss. And when we get together next time, we will break some bread.
That sounds great. All righty, guys. Dropping the mic, and we are out.